Welcome back. It's been a while since I made a YouTube video. Actually, the last time I made a YouTube video, the car wasn't even done. A lot has happened this year, good and bad, and I'm going to share all that in today's video. I'm going to do in today's video is give you guys a complete walk around, in-depth look at the E46 because a lot of you don't have Instagram, and that's mainly where I post all of my content. So we're going to do that so you guys can get up to speed with basically what's going on with the car. But before I do that, let me just start by explaining our year because it was crazy. The last time you guys checked in here, I was not quite finished with the car yet, but we had just bought in a new Ford truck and a new trailer because we needed to be able to get this thing around to all the events this year. And within, I think, 3 months of having that truck, it literally caught on fire, burned to the ground. I'll insert pictures here. Essentially what had happened was the fuel filter on the 6.7 Fords, they're plastic and they get pinholes in them and it leaks diesel onto the headers, and then it ignites, and then because the headers are so hot you can't extinguish it. So that was our first setback of the year. Actually second, because we blew up our first motor 4th lap at our first event. So that's motor number 1, and our truck burned to the ground. So right then you're already like thinking like, wow, how could this get any worse? And are we making the right moves? Should we stop? Should we quit? But we decided that we're not going to give up. So we kept going. So now we're on our second motor. We get it from the engine builder, and the oil pump eats itself at the very first Grid Life event in South Carolina. So we drive all the way there. It's 6.5 hours. We pay, I don't know, $2,500 in Airbnbs, and the motor is no good. So we come back, we pull that motor out, we send it off, and then we get another motor, it blows up. And this is real, this really happened. I didn't share a ton about it, but we still hadn't given up. And so we spent a lot of money on a Texas Speed motor. It's like a 418 cubic inch motor. And we went to Grid Life Midwest at Gingerman, and it ran great. We had a great weekend. The gearing in the car was really bad because of the transmission that we had paired up with the M3 rear end in the car. So third was a little long for that track, but overall we had a good weekend. And then we came home, went to another couple events, whatever, and then shot down to Atlanta for a King of Atlanta little drift competition thing, and the motor dropped a valve. It's actually over here, and I'll show you guys in a minute. So then we got another motor, and it's just been filled with great times with friends and driving, but a lot of misfortune and expensive and long nights in the shop. So, but now this year's almost over. We're going to start fresh next year. We're still not giving up. And I'm being optimistic. You know, I have the support from my family. My wife's super supportive of all this. I've got great partners. And, oh yeah, we've never even talked about the fact that I'm sponsored by Walther Firearms on YouTube. So we'll get into that too. This video is going to be long. Be prepared. But let's take a walk around the car. Let's move to some positive stuff because the car is great right now. So we're going to walk around this whole car, and I'm going to try to list off everything that I have in this car so that you guys know what we're dealing with. A lot of you guys have no idea. I guess we'll start at the engine. So this is a E46. A lot of you saw me starting to build it. We had a really big fancy NA motor in here that made like 600 wheel, and then it blew up. So now we have a bone stock LS3 from GM with a cam. And it just got off the dyno a few days ago, and it made 430 horsepower to the wheel, which is pretty great. And we have another motor over here that we're going to build for next year, and this will be like our backup. But we'll go into that. So the engine is in the E46 thanks to Siki. Everything from Siki to mount an LS and an E46. It's on their website. Check it out. So their headers, their engine mounts, their accessory drive kit, their steering shaft to clear the headers. It works fantastic. Super easy. I've done a lot of LS swaps this year, and this kit has made my life really easy. Durali fans on the radiator. We're still front rad. Durali oil cooler. If you look in here, there's some cool bits from Chase Bays. We've got a fresh produce catch can up there in the corner with the pineapple on it. I just found out that pineapples mean you're a swinger, and I'm not a swinger, but I don't want people to get the wrong idea. Chase Bays brake booster delete. This thing is phenomenal and gives you that consistent pedal feel that you don't really get from a stock booster. Let's go. So, oh, also in here, Link ECU engine harness. So if you buy like a Link Extreme ECU, you can get this harness, and everything plugs right in. And I think the harness comes Gen 3 and Gen 4. I'm not entirely sure on that, but this is a Gen 4 and it works great. Up here, like up front, we've got a Street Fighter kit on the car, front and rear. Stock front bumper with a lip off of eBay. Some Koenig wheels, of course. I've been with Koenig a very long time. Power stop brakes. And then maybe I'll jack it up so you guys can see a little better. But if you stick your camera through that front vent, through this front vent up here, you can see all the SLR goodies and the BC shocks. Let me help you out here. Gotta help my wife. It's her first time. Look how good that looks with the Kendas, the BCs, the SLR. Looks fantastic. Here you go. And then we'll move up here to, I guess, the inside of the car. Might be a little dark in there, but all Prisma safety gear. So these are the Prisma FIA seats, Prisma FIA harnesses. They're actually the Hans style ones, so it's a little bit thinner right here to kind of fit over your Hans device. Super comfortable. I use the Halo on the driver's side, and then on the passenger side, I don't want to burden anybody with a Halo. So kind of this angle here, you can see all of our Link goodies. So we've got a Link Extreme ECU. We've got a Link Razor PDM up front there, and then the CAN Lambda setup is tucked away. You can't see it, but let me go to the other side. You stay here. So this is kind of a cool little thing right here. If you look, the bleeder for my clutch is actually in the car. So if you ever need to bleed your clutch by yourself, you can do it. You don't have to get under the car. So there's the bleeder for the clutch. We have an HGK E92 carbon dash, Link keypad, 8-button, Link 5-inch digital dash there. Of course, NRG wheel and quick release. Chase Bays handbrake inline because dual caliper is a waste of money and you don't need it. This thing works fantastic, inline all the way. Transmission, this is an Andrews 4-speed gearbox. Dog box is what most of you guys would know it by. We actually just put this in, and that's paired up with a Tilton twin disc clutch and a QuickTime bell housing and Tilton 4000 series throwout bearing, I think. So Andy Seehausen did a bunch of fab work on this car just recently, and we changed a bunch of goodies. We were running the TKX transmission, and now Jackson has it. But anyways, Andrews 4-speed dog box, it's awesome. Fire extinguisher. If you just kind of pan to the back of the car here, you can see our cage kit's cage, of course, which I think most of you have probably already seen that. Electronics in the back just include a PDM, a second PDM that controls all of the electronics in the back of the car. So the one in the front controls the front, the one in the back controls the back. Let me pop this off. I know a lot of you on YouTube don't have Instagram, so I feel like a lot of people have no idea that this thing even got done. If you don't have Instagram, get it, because I post a lot more on there. All right, so back here, we've got a fuel-safe 10-gallon cell with all Fuel Lab components. We've got our Fuel Lab fuel pressure regulator, our controller for our pump. So we just have a lift and then a feed. It's a brushless pump, and there's plenty for what we're doing. We've got our vent that comes off the QSST up to a filter with a rollover check valve. All this brand new, beautiful fabrication right here from Andy Seehausen. So basically, I did crash the car into a wall this year, and if I do that again, this whole structure unbolts and we can put our spare on and put the car back together. So super convenient. Down here, see that? That huge hole in the floor is for the diff. You have to cut a ton of the chassis away to fit a quick change in the car. Maybe, do you want to get under there and show them? Get down low. I did hear your knees. So down there, we've got a quick change from Rad Industries, and then all SLR arms. So SLR lowers, SLR uppers, and then BC shocks. These are custom built to, they're single way, but custom built to my spec. G-force axles from Sickie, Blood Motorsports subframe, and Power Stop M3 brakes. So we have M3 trailing arms in the back, and the G-force axles just slip right in. They're really nice. You can get those at Sickie, and Sickie does subframes also. Part Shop Max, strut tower brace here. We've all heard stories about shocks blowing through the shock towers of E46s, so we're trying to prevent that. I also just wanted to touch on the livery for this car. It turned out so amazing. I worked super close with David from Super Wow Factory to kind of develop this multi-layered livery. There's nothing printed on this, so it's just multiple layers, but we've got some 9mm bullets, some coffins, some lightning bolts, and it just turned out so good. I wanted to kind of keep the blue and black, especially for the people that remember the S14. I kind of wanted to keep that alive for as long as I can, so the front's blue, the back of it is black. And another cool thing that I didn't share earlier is our power steering cooler is in the back of the car underneath, which is pretty neat, with 2 fans on it. There was no room up front anymore, so that's where it had to go. This entire car, speaking of power steering, the entire car is plumbed with Red Horse Performance lines and fittings. So we're using all their PTFE stuff for the fuel system. And then, let me get this open. One of my shocks is bad on the hood. But yeah, all Red Horse Performance goodies. The PTFE stuff, which is super easy to work with and beautiful right here. Let's see, where else did we use that? We used it for our clutch lines. Some of our brake lines are Chase Bays and some are Red Horse. Oh, there you can get a good look at that PTFE stuff. Beautiful products. Huge shout out to Red Horse. This car is on paper amazing, and if we can just get through all these stupid little engine problems, I think we're gonna have a fantastic car. The quick change is great. I think that it's unfortunate that only super high horsepower cars are running quick changes, because if the guys with 250 to 300 horsepower had quick changes, their cars would be so much more drivable. So being that we only make a little over 400, having that quick change will allow us to adapt to different tracks and different drivers. And my wife, even behind the camera, she said the car feels faster now than when we had 600 horsepower, and that's only because of the gearing. So it's a pretty neat thing to have. It is expensive, but it's like a buy once, cry once. You're never going to break it, especially with 430 horsepower, and it will last you a very, very long time. I'll show you some components to the quick change stuff as well. So let's talk about partners, and then we'll go into some other stuff. So we didn't really get a chance to talk about partners since I've been away from YouTube, but Walther Firearms, a firearms brand that's been in business for over 100 years, signed on with us. We are the first drift car team to have a title sponsorship by a firearms manufacturer. And now we're starting to see a lot of you guys out there getting some firearm sponsors. So what we're doing is working. Walther's super happy with the program. It's been really cool to share, motorsports with the firearms community, and then the motorsports community to the firearms community. They kind of have a pretty good crossover, but introducing both to each other has been really, really fun. And you guys know me, I'm a big gun guy. I like to train, and I felt like I was a good advocate for the firearms community within motorsports, which was advocating for safety, good training, and more training, because you're useless with a gun if you don't train. So we might see some more firearms related brands come on board for 2025. That will be exciting. And Kenda Tire came through and saved us at the beginning of the year. I've been loving these tires. There's some burned ones over there. And there's some more in the trailer. I'm going to kind of show you guys the whole operation here. This is a long video. Okay, we're moving on. Over here we have all of the parts from our blown up expensive motor with a cracked block. This is an LS3 block with a huge crack in it. Can't really see it, but where that Sharpie is right there, there's a crack right on the sleeve. So that block is useless. Maybe we can make a coffee table out of it or something. But basically, we have that blown up motor and then that blown up motor right there. And between both of them, we will have a new motor, because some of the parts are good from that one, some of the parts are good from that one. And we're going to build a high compression 408 cubic inch 6 liter, or it's going to start as a 6 liter. But we scored a killer deal on this trailer. It's very old, but it was very cheap and in very good shape. And I'll give you guys a little tour, but yeah, it was very, very cheap. It was actually the same price as our brand new trailer that we bought. And yeah, it just worked out. We needed a 2-car trailer for things that I can't tell you about right now. But come on inside. It's a little dark in here. But basically right now, there's no cabinets in here because we need the space for 2 cars. This is 44 feet long. And with cabinets, you probably wouldn't be able to fit 2 cars. So all of our spare stuff goes in these totes. All of our track, like our pit supplies, goes in totes. And then we've got tents here, tables and chairs, fuel jugs, and AC. There's fucking AC, and it's the best thing ever. And then these freezer doors, keep the AC trapped in here and keep this part of the trailer cool. When it's 90 degrees outside, you can keep it 65 in here, and it's fantastic. And then on this side, the big doors usually open, and then we have tire racks that go here. It holds 18 tires, or wheels and tires. And then, so basically 1 car behind the freezer doors, 1 in front, and it works great, especially towing Jackson around. I like to drive a Jackson, and he doesn't have a truck and trailer, so somebody's got to take him to the track. Tools on the bottom, toolbox, generator. There's a spare trailer tire up there. There's a spare front wheel up there in case we get into a wreck, for the car, not for the truck or trailer. I told you our Ford burned down. That sucked, so we bought a Chevy. So there's a lot of stuff for next year that I can't share currently, but I'm very proud of what we were able to accomplish, and just not giving up through all of the misfortunes that happened this year. I mean, there was so many. And there was times where, you just, and it's not that you want to quit, but you're just like burnt out. It feels so repetitive. I did so many engine swaps. Like I felt like it was my job. But bringing Walther on board and seeing how supportive they are of the drift community and motorsports in general is super cool. I think they're here to stay, and we're going to keep pushing forward with them and bringing you guys cool stuff. So make sure you guys follow Walther on Instagram. I'll put it right here. And yeah, I'm really excited. We're headed down to Atlanta next week for the Drift Symphony 2 event with Hurt and T-Pain. And the day before that, we're actually going to one of the Tint World locations, Tint World here. We're going to do a pop-up at Tint World. I'll include the details for that in the description of this video. So if you're in Atlanta or in the surrounding areas, November 22nd, you can come out and hang out with us at Tint World, and we're actually going to be giving away some tickets to the Drift Symphony event the following day. So that'll be exciting. We're going to be there making content and trying to drive with some of our friends. I'm really excited. That'll kind of be our last main event of the year. We're going to head out to Walther in Arkansas in December to give some ride-alongs there as well to some of the employees. The staff from Germany is actually coming over, and they're going to see the car for the first time. I think that only our marketing guy, Chris, has seen the car in real life from Walther. Like nobody else that works there has even seen it. They see the videos, and it's been at some of their events. But thank you guys for watching. Thanks for tuning in. There's so many of you that have been so loyal to this page for so many years. And I hope you guys know that I really appreciate that. Hold on. Pause. There's one. I crashed the shit out of this thing so nothing lines up anymore. Thank you for watching. And we'll try to do this more often. If you guys want to see more, comment. Appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe. I've lost 40,000 subscribers, so let's get them numbers back up. Thanks. Later. Thanks.